Hi, I'm Kathy Mills from Short Film Edits, and I'm here with Eric Roberto for an interview today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Eric Roberto. I'm happy to be
Yeah,
here.
that's good. Could we start this with you telling us a little bit about you?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I was doing modeling mostly before acting. Did some acting as a teenager, did some acting as a young adult, got more into the modeling side, then did that for about 2 to 3 years, and then got slowly back into the acting and doing a lot of the verticals as well. So it's definitely been a fun transition. Let's just say I still do modeling, but doing
Yeah.
both, it's always a fun little switch up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, what drew you to acting originally?
Um, I would say like when I was a kid, I was always very much into like the movie magic per se, if that makes sense. Like I was always interested in like directing or writing. I always imagined myself doing things like that because I was always in like stories, and even now I'm still very much into like stories. Like even things that like I don't I don't really play video games, but I like video game lore. So I will
Mm.
read lore of random video games. And it's like, so I always imagined myself to be like that. But I think as I got older, actually, funny enough, um, now I remembered it now. So when I was younger, about 16, I really wanted to get a job. I wanted to start working, making money. But I had no experience. So I couldn't find work anywhere. And then I had a couple friends of mine. They were like, "Oh, I did like extra work." So I was like, "Oh, extra work. Like, what's that?" They're like, "Oh, like you're an extra in film." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So when I was a teenager, I just got into that and met a lot of great people. Like some of the best people I met still are from when I was a teenager doing that. But then my agency at the time just started submitting me for commercial auditions. So I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Like, you know. And then I was like 17 when I started that. Then after a couple of years, I was like, "Oh, like I really want to buy a car. I want to make money." But like I was bad at saving money. And it was like sometimes you'd have busy seasons and slow seasons. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna work and save money at a regular job. So for like 5, 6 years after that, I just like was working all the time, saving money. And during that period is when I started doing modeling. Because I think like an ex-girlfriend of mine was like, you gotta like just try it. Just try it.
Mm.
So then I got into it and I just messaged my agency at the time pictures. They're like, hey, can you come in for a meeting? And then did that. And then I was like, I want to get back into acting because I only did a little bit of it before. And then here we are now. It's been fun.
Here we are.
Still going, still doing fun. So yeah, yeah,
As long as you enjoy it, hey, it's the main
exactly.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what makes a character interesting for you to play?
Mm, what makes a character? I think for me, like I do a lot of the villains, right? Or
Mm.
like supporting leads. Um, I think what makes it interesting is just, I guess, the range, because like being when you do a villain, you could just kind of take it, you can kind of test the extent, which is always fun,
Yeah.
depending on all the actions that you're doing. So it doesn't matter if it's a villain or if it's like, a good guy, bad guy. But I think for me, it's like that range that you're able to do, right?
Mm.
That's the sort of thing that I like. Is like how far can I take it before it seems unbelievable, but how unbelievable can I take it where it does seem like it could be real? Like a James Bond
Mm.
villain, sort of, where it's like there's people that are like this, but it's still like unbelievable. But there are people that are
Mm.
like this. So it's like things like that.
Yeah.
I think range, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever
Yeah.
had to do one where even you knew that it wasn't believable? Mm.
Um, yeah, definitely. But like, well, some of them are obviously like very soap opera-y. So
Mm.
when you have things like that, it's nice because it kind of gives you the ability to not be believable, but
Mm.
also I'm sure there's people that have done those situations, but just not like
Yeah.
acted over the top, if
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. So not believable, but also the situation is like kidnapping or extortion or
Mm.
destruction of some kind. And like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are always fun. I love doing that. So,
Good. Okay. So when you're building a character, what's something small you add to, sorry, what's something small you add to that that the audience may not notice?
mm, something small that they may not notice. Hmm, that's a good question. I don't know. I would say something small that they may not notice is, hmm, I maybe sometimes I try to. Oh, that's a good question. I don't even know if I notice. I try to, like I said, like doing a lot of like the villains. I try to be as, or even like supporting leads or whatever. I try to be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think. Well,
Now
I feel
something you can think
stumped.
about.
I don't. It's not something I could think about. I guess I try to be like sometimes subtlety, maybe that they may not
Mm,
notice. It depends, or like the mannerisms and the subtleties. But then again, that's a word. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to find things now. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that. I'm sure there's something subconscious that other
yeah,
people have noticed that I haven't even noticed. So, yeah.
maybe. Okay. All right. Have you ever had a scene turn out very different from how you imagined it from the script?
Um, yeah, there was, well, it's funny. There was one where I was the villain in this one, and it was like a kidnapping scene. And I, the girl's all tied up. I got the gun. I'm just telling him like, give me money, like give me your all your money, this and that. Um, and when we were filming that, it was hilarious because it was like December and it was late at night, and it was like close to the end of the day, and we were all just having a huge ball doing it, and it was super comedic because like it was kind of over the top, right?
Yeah.
And there was stunts and like all that stuff. And I felt like we were having like it was a ball, and I was like, oh, like the comedic bits are gonna be great. But then like that's when I first started like kind of doing the verticals. So like a year and 4 months ago, 5 months ago, about a year and a half ago, I think I got into it. But it was like one of the first ones, and I didn't realize how much the editing would change. So like it turned out really good still, because they're short dramas. So it turned out really good still, and I'm happy with the footage. But I also thought that it would be like more drawn out. But then that was my naive thinking, if that
Mm.
makes sense, of like, oh, it's gonna, yeah. But it still turned out great. But I just thought it'd be
Yeah.
like way more comedic and like the mannerisms that we were doing and whatnot. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one that sticks out where I'm like, oh, it still looks good though. So I'm
Yeah.
not
I'm glad it
unhappy
still
with
looks good. The editing
it.
is like the biggest part of all of this that makes or breaks the
Yeah.
show, I think.
Yeah. Mhm. And I didn't watch it
So,
for like till like the first time I watched it was when I was doing my reel like 7 months later. So I was like,
mm,
oh, I thought it would be like hilarious. It was still funny, but different from what I assumed it would be. But
yeah.
that was on me. So
No, that's all right. You learn this for next time. You just
yeah,
go in knowing that. Yeah.
exactly.
No, what's one acting challenge you didn't expect when you first started working on sets?
hmm One acting challenge that I didn't expect. Hmm. One acting challenge that I didn't expect. I would say how much, depending on who you're working with, like sometimes how much the chemistry off camera translates, because sometimes like I don't have bad blood with anybody, and I could say that like with confidence. Like there's
Yeah.
nobody that I have a problem with. But there are some people that like I would say people that I vibe with more. Sometimes it almost does translate onto camera.
Mm,
It depends what you do. Not just like verticals most of the time. Everybody's professional. Like I've had no problems with verticals, but even like some other small things I've done or whatnot, sometimes people can't translate that chemistry. Like if
Mm,
they're kind of like quiet, you're kind of like you can kind of sense that sometimes. So that was something where I thought
yeah.
like, oh, people would be able to kind of, because even when I was like first starting out, I was very nervous, uh, like doing like short films, uh, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Mm,
Um, Something like I was very nervous, but I was still like, okay, the moment I get into camera, get into like that mode and that chemistry, that fear goes away. But I guess it just, everybody's different though. People learn too.
mm,
Like I'm always learning, right? So, but I
mm,
said that was one thing that kind of I was like, oh, I thought people would just be able to like get into the zone, but it takes
mm.
more for people, which is fine. But
See, I'm a
yeah,
bit the opposite. So I'm fine off camera and then it turns on and that's when I get nervous.
yeah.
So it switches.
I, I always tell myself where I'm like, okay, if you feel nervous, it's gonna translate onto the camera. And I was like, I don't want people
Mm,
to like if I got to do something silly, it's like, just go all out with it
mhm.
because if you hold back, it's gonna look worse. That makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
For me,
absolutely.
that's like for acting. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about a scene that was harder to film than it looked on screen?
Mm, there was one that I did. It was funny. It's not that it looked fine on camera, obviously, but it was a scene
Mm,
where I was getting dragged away and I was yelling while I was dragging it away. While I was being dragged away. And it was kind of like I kind of had like a huge. It was like I forget which one it was, but it was I was trying to get this painting, and like I found out that my bank account had been drained and my company was like ruined, and I was freaking out. And in the script, there was a lot of oh, actually, there's two scenes. I'll just go with this one, but I had to say this whole thing of like, I'm gonna destroy you, I'm gonna get you all this, and like getting dragged away. But it's funny because the guys that were dragging me away, they were great. They were like trying to get the pressure. I'm like, just yank me. I was like, I'm sturdy, just yank me. So there were some takes. I think they probably went with the take where like they really yanked me, which was good. But it was funny because sometimes it was soft, sometimes it was hard. But like, I'm all like trying to scream and everything. So it was like kind of funny looking back because I look at the scene and I'm like, oh, like looks like, but when we are actually doing it, it was like a mountain of like, oh, this is the line. Oh, I messed up this line. Oh, I said this line. So it looked fine, but behind the scenes, it was hilarious. So it was a great day though.
uh, that,
We all
that's,
we had to drive to a far location very early in the morning, so we were all just like running on fumes. It was so funny. It was such a fun shoot.
oh,
So yeah.
wow. What's the most craziest location you've ever had to film in?
Um, there was one I did about a month ago. We actually were having to, the place was going to be like an hour and a half away. We were going to
Mm.
stay in a hotel overnight, but then, and it was, yeah, we were going to stay in a hotel overnight, but then they switched it last minute. So it was a little closer. So I'd say that probably would have been like the farthest that I've been, but the craziest location. Um, I've never really been anything. I mean, not vertical related, but when I did modeling, I remember one time going like up to a ski mountain.
Mhm.
We weren't supposed to be shooting on the mountain, but we ended up just getting tickets and shooting on the mountain, which was a
Oh,
blast.
yeah.
So, I mean, not vertical related, but that's probably the most interesting. But I'd say like vertical related, we tend to film in a lot of the same locations, uh, or not same, but like same style, like
Yeah.
houses outside of that. So, personally, me, never been anywhere too crazy.
I was discussing this the other day with somebody that, a lot of the times you can tell that they're in the same location, behind the scenes and stuff.
Mm,
But if they do it right, you can't tell that they're in the same house in the vertical, you know,
yeah,
which is pretty good. But behind the scenes, we're all like, oh, we know that house.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Shout out to the set decorators because they are switching a lot of stuff up a
mhm.
lot of times. I used to do set decorating
Yeah.
for like 3 months, like 5 years ago. So it's like I understand the struggle of having to get it all together. So
Yeah. And make sure that everything is like in the right spots and yeah, continuity, huge, huge
exactly,
on
yeah,
that.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. All right. What's the most valuable piece of professional advice you've ever received?
the most, mm, it's funny. I'd say most valuable piece. I don't even think this is this might not even be professional advice, but my priest says this line where he's like, tomorrow is the enemy of today, and
Hmm.
good is the enemy of great. So that's
Mm.
kind of one thing, like, it's not really like, because that's the one thing that a lot of times I just repeat in my head where I'm like, okay, you know what? If you're gonna do something, do it as best as you can.
Mm.
So I would say that is one of the best things. Another thing that I also just thought of that's great advice is like a while ago, somebody else said is like, you know what? Every line you say it like you want something. Like, like even if you're saying something like what is that? It's like, what is that? Right? But then it's like say it like you want that. Like with and it sounds hard to explain because I forget the line he was telling me to do it with, but like even I just said it and it like was a huge switch up and I was like, oh, and he's like, you see the difference? You feel it? And I was like, yeah. And it's just
Mm.
like what is that? It's hard to explain. It feels cringy if I'm trying to do it now because I can't remember the line. But that was also the thing. Like if you say something, say it with the intention of getting it. And I think that was the
Mm.
best advice, along with the other stuff that I said of like, okay, do it the best you can, do it, you know, the time you're supposed to do it, don't delay. And also, yeah. Like I think the other
Yeah.
advice, the first advice I said helped me out because after I asked to leave my modeling agency, I was just applying to all these places for acting work. And I didn't really know much about verticals, but my friend told me about them because
Mhm.
that's when I was kind of starting out. So that was like, you know what? I always be like, oh, I'll look for work later. I'll look for work later. It's like, no, do it now. And I was just sending out emails, applying, doing things, and then it worked out. Thank God. So I was stressful time. So yeah.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
doing it later is like the worst advice. Like we always say, I'll do it later. I'm bad for that. I'll
mhm.
do it later. But
Yeah. Me
later
too.
always becomes later and later and later. So the best advice is just do it. So
Yeah. My
yeah.
one friend, I've heard this quote before, but he said yesterday, he's like, hey man, best time to do something was 10 years ago. Second best time is
Hmm.
now. True. So I like
Yeah.
little quotes and maxims, like ancient Greek-esque quotes that just
Mm.
ring true 2,500 years later. I love things like that. So
Yeah. And they make you
yeah,
sit there and go, yeah, okay.
yeah. Like,
Okay,
like
okay, I
humans,
get it.
humans have been the
Yeah.
same for thousands of years. Like it's like people
Hmm.
struggled. I remember reading a poem about like from like ancient Egypt, and I'm like, oh yeah, this still rings true today. So yeah, humans
Mm.
like just got to do what you got to do, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. All rings true, doesn't it?
yeah.
Okay. Um, what do you want casting directors to see in you that maybe they haven't yet?
Mm, I would say maybe more my ability of range, if that makes sense. Because like I think
Mm.
like with the with a lot of the roles I do, like and I'm very thankful for them all, and I love doing them. Like I've never had a bad day doing a character because like I just enjoy it. But
Mm.
I think maybe they do see the range. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. But like I could do angry, I could do the sad, I could do the happy, and luckily my reel shows that. I think because I have both like a horizontal reel and a vertical reel. So I'm hoping maybe they do see that. I don't know, but I hope that that's something that they see that I try to
Yeah.
portray because
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of my one thing of like I could do this, I could do that, I could do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's the issue with I mean, I know that typecasting people have different opinions, but I guess that's one issue with typecasting is sometimes you don't get to explore that range if you're put into
yeah,
that. So,
yeah, that makes sense. I kind of think of like one actor that I think does it really well is like Javier Bardem because he's like he does like a lot of that. He was a Bond villain. He did the that one monster show, the Eric and Lyle Menendez one. He was the dad in that,
mm.
and he did No Country for Old Men. So he's done like these ones where he's like the villain, but also like I feel like the range is just like he's still able to show that range, which
Mm.
like that's yeah. I just like to have fun and like like let me see what I can do. Let me push it,
Yeah.
right? So
It's good if you
it's
get the
always fun.
freedom to do that.
Yeah.
You
Especially
got
like
to
if a
get the freedom.
director, yeah, and
Yes.
especially if a director like gives you like that feedback on the spot. Because I have done stuff where like I'll look at a scene and I'm like, oh, that scene didn't turn out good. But also we are our own biggest critics. So I'm like, maybe
Hmm.
oh that's something I learned in modeling because sometimes I see a picture, I'm like, oh, I don't look good. But then they're like, no, this is really good. And then
Mm.
like others would say, oh, I saw it, like that was really good. And I was like, oh, maybe like, they're in that job for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know they have a good eye. And I'm just, if you're gonna be criticize yourself all the time, you're never gonna get anything done. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. So it's
Yes.
like I trust other people's judgment as well, you know.
Yeah.
But you know,
I get that completely. Totally get that.
yeah,
Okay. What's one role that you felt taught you the most about acting?
one role that felt I mean, the most. Um, I'll have to, hmm, maybe years ago I did this one. It was a short film that I did with a few friends of mine. It was called Ultraviolet Light. It was so fun. It was like a night shoot in January, so it was cold. But I was like it's like there's this big monster. There's like four of us friends hanging out, and there's this big monster that's just like, and I got killed on the first night. Uh which honestly, that the temperature at that time, I was okay with dying on the first night. It's like I got one night out here. You guys have three. So I was like, it's okay if I die. But like my whole thing, he was like, you gotta like, you're the one that sets the tone because you gotta be like, or not sets the tone, but he's like, you're the one, like you're the first one that dies. Just you're the shortest on screen, so you have to let them know how you are, who you are.
Hmm.
So I feel like that, like being on screen the shortest, because I was, to be quite frank, I was a rude guy in the film. So it's
Hmm.
kind of like if you're watching it, it was probably like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but it's like if you're watching, you're like, I kind of hope that guy dies, right?
Hmm.
But I think that shorter amount of time, me having to portray that in a shorter amount of time was probably a really good lesson that, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, it was a super fun shoot. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I have to rewatch that. I haven't seen it in a long time, but
You have
I hope
to
it's
let
on
me
YouTube.
know that one so I can watch it.
Yeah, I'll have to find it on YouTube. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you're playing a villain and like people on screen want you to die, you're doing really well at playing that character.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny looking back at like the clips. I was like, I hope that guy does, but that's me. I don't want to die. But
Yeah, yeah.
like looking back, I'm like, because I was such a mean person in that.
Hmm.
It was just so much fun though. It was a student film, so like there's just a bunch of us young guys out there having fun. It's funny, I've actually met people I've worked with on there on verticals doing crew
Oh,
work.
cool.
So it's like, because it's part of the program. I remember I saw this girl in December. I was like, yeah, like, did I recognize you? I know you. And she's like, oh yeah. And I was like, we follow each other. She's like, wait, is your name? I was like, 3 years ago we did that thing. She's like, oh my gosh, it was a huge
Yeah.
vibe. It was sweet, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is small world. Yeah, Vancouver is a
Oh,
small
yeah.
world. Everybody
Yeah. I
knows each
find
other.
these student projects, everybody's so much like more passionate. I mean, I know that a lot of people are passionate about their work, but when it's like
Mm,
a small production and they're not really getting paid for it and they're just there because they really want to make a great film, you can see that.
mm, mhm. Yeah, the director for that he was great. Yeah,
Mm.
he's just such a good guy too. Um, Everybody on that set was so nice, and it was just like, and it's funny actually. One of the guys that I worked with there, he's actually one of my good friends, his roommate. So
Hmm.
it's like, we saw each other at like a party like a year ago, and I was like, dude, how you been?
Yeah.
Like, it's been this is like, and he's my other friend's roommate that I know from Verticals, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
god, what's up, man? Like, so
Very small
small
world.
world. Even people
Yeah.
that like, even people that like, whether they're in show business or like the vertical industry or like other industries or whatever, modeling industry as well. It's like, oh yeah, this person that's in Japan. Oh, like I have like three mutuals on Instagram with them. And it's like I look
Hmm.
at them, I was like, oh, okay, so always interconnected, right?
Yeah. No
So
matter where
that's
you
why I
are in the
say
world too.
like, that's why I look at Instagram. It's like a nice resume. It's like show
Yeah.
your work on there, do that. It's great for work. When I first started
Mm.
getting work on Instagram, I was like, oh my gosh, I can use this to expand my dreams. Cool.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. No, that's really good. I like that.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
What's a role people might not expect you to play, but you'd love to do?
Hmm. What's a role you want to expand? Ooh, I feel like a role. I kind of want to give romance a try. Maybe.
Mm.
I've never really done. I've done a comedy romance, or even like I could do comedies. I've done a comedy romance before, but it wasn't really romantic. It was more like it was another short film I did because
Mm.
4 years ago. Oh my gosh, jeez. Time flies. But anyways,
Hmm.
I kind of want to try something romantic, maybe. I don't know
Mm.
though. I don't know. But also, it's like, yeah, like I know, I had an acting teacher years ago, and he had a great piece of advice. He's like, you know, sometimes even if you're typecast or not, like if you know what you're working with, and there's those roles for you, there's no shame in like going for that,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So if that makes sense. Like I'm not really against being typecast because like there's just so much range you could do with a bunch of stuff, right? But
Yeah.
something, yeah, action. I don't know. Could I do action? I don't know if people could see me doing action, but you know, maybe a romance or an action, maybe
Hmm.
something like that would be
Yeah.
fun.
Do you want to
If
play the villain in those or the like protagonist?
protagonist would be fun. I guess technically I have done like romance verticals where I'm like the guy that's trying to steal the girl. So I
Hmm.
guess I technically have. But I guess even like in general, vertical or not, I do wonder how like a romance one would be. I don't know. Um, but like I said, like I don't know if I have to look for it or not, but I'm like, whatever I do, whatever role I have, I'm very happy with.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of like that's something like I think personally me, maybe I just because I've never really done one before, I'm curious. So
Mm.
yeah. Yeah,
Well, it'll okay. If it comes up, you go for it,
yeah,
then I hope you get it so
exactly.
you
Yeah.
can experience that.
Thank you. That'll be a fun thing. And then once I do it, I'll let you know. Well, that was great,
Yeah.
or it's different from what I thought. Who knows? But yeah,
Yeah.
once it
Yes.
happens.
Of course.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
Is there anything you want anyone to know about you or your work?
Anything I want people to know about me or my work? Um, that like I guess I tr that like whatever you're seeing, I probably had a lot of fun doing. If that
Mm.
makes sense, like it, there's you know I try to have like the best time I can have on set, whether it's modeling or acting. Um, so it's like most of the times, like I will try to just give it my all. And it's like if that's something
Mhm.
like, and I think another thing is too. I think I see a lot of myself, like with the acting work. Modeling is different, but with the acting work, I think a lot of times I try to insert a little bit of myself into each character. So
Mm.
like even if it's like if I'm a bad guy and I'm like going crazy, I may not like try to. I may not agree. Like obviously, I don't agree with doing the bad stuff, but it's
Mm.
like I try to sometimes add that sense of realism. Like what could drive somebody crazy? You know
Mm.
what I mean? Because like I was talking earlier about I like to read the lore of things.
Yeah.
I'm really in the I tend to get like very obsessive about like specific things for periods of time. And right now it's James Bond. Don't
Mm.
know why. I've been talking to my dad about it a lot. 'Cause my dad grew up, he's in his 60s, grew up watching it. But it's like I've just been reading about all the villain origin stories. And it's always like a fallen hero to anti-hero heroes. So it's like you can kind of understand like, oh, he had this ambition, but he fell and he went bad and da da da. So even if I'm doing something bad, it's like I always trying to add that sense of realism of like, okay, like whether it's for verticals or not, it's like there's a sense it makes sense why he's the way that he is. So I always
Yeah.
try to insert. I don't know if that. I apologize if that it doesn't answer the question, but I try to insert a little bit of myself into everything. So
Yeah.
it's up to
Mm.
people to watch it and decide like, is he really that crazy or is it just a little bit? That's up for people to decide. But
Yes.
the hardcore stuff I would not do because morally I'm just not into that. So,
Yeah.
but there
No.
might be a little bit of a tinge of like, oh, maybe like, maybe he's channeling from something that made him angry and
Mm.
he, who knows? Whatever people decide, I'd love to hear. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I hear different stories from that all the time. I hear some people like try and draw from personal experiences and others try
Mhm.
and stay away from that completely. It's just like a
Mhm.
wide range of how
Yeah.
people get there.
Mhm. Yeah, like, well, it's funny because like when I was younger, I for some reason could not, uh, for some reason, like in the acting, I just couldn't cry on command. I remember
Mm,
trying. One trick, obviously, one trick is like some people will use the eye drops or like they'll break the peppermint.
yeah.
Um, but sometimes, a lot of times, I'll just like look a certain way and my eye will get, dry and all water. And then sometimes you could just think about something and you'll
Yeah.
just cry, like a heartbreak or a death or something terrible. And you're just like, you could just cry. But you're not
Mm.
sad, if that
No.
makes sense. It's like you're not sad, but
Yeah.
like, oh, that makes me, yeah. So that's like, yeah, it's just, I don't know why I brought that up. I apologize. You know me. We chatted for like 2 hours before. We chatted for like 2 hours before. Like,
That's
elaborate.
fine.
My
It was
apologies.
good chat. No, I mean,
Yeah,
I know that crying on camera is not like some people have skills like I don't know if you know Meg Bush, but she's amazing. She can do it in 2 seconds. She can
mhm,
just go from like normal to
yeah,
crying and then back again. Like it's crazy. But then yeah, like you said, other people need some help with that. Um,
yeah,
but it's just yeah, I mean, it's a technique, I guess. I guess
mhm,
there's different techniques on learning how to do that too.
yeah. Which is totally fine to use those little things too, because like sometimes
Mm.
they're doing the same thing for like 2 hours, and sometimes you're all cried out. Like,
Hmm.
like I think it was a, oh, I forget the name, but like The Shining, the actress in The Shining.
Yeah.
Apparently, she was crying so much on set, she was clinically dehydrated. I don't know
Oh,
if that's a,
wow.
I don't know if that's a myth that I heard, but like, yeah, like
Mm,
Stanley Kubrick was like, again, 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 over and over, and she was got
mm.
dehydrated from all the crying. I don't know if that maybe it's an old wives' tale or like a myth,
Maybe,
but
but I could see that happening. Like,
yeah,
I could see that happening. It takes a lot out
yeah,
of you. Like, I was speaking to
hmm,
another actress who cries a lot on films like this, and she says
hmm,
it really gets to you, like, starts to affect your eyes, and, when you're
hmm,
constantly crying on film all the time. So
yeah,
it does affect you.
yeah. Like it's so. Luckily, I'm usually the one that's causing the crying, so I don't need to. I'm the angry one, so yeah.
Mm. Maybe you can do an angry cry next time. An angry cry.
True. That'd be, yeah, an angry cry. Sometimes
Mm.
in, yeah, even like sometimes in self tapes, like I'll do some where I'm like I did one yesterday where like I had to be so angry that's like there's tears in my eyes. I'm like that's a
Mm.
nice switch up. That'd be nice to get and do. So
Yeah.
just the range is always fun. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
exactly. Exactly. All
Yeah.
right. If you could acquire one skill set from an actor that you've worked with, what would it be and why?
One skill set. Oh, like some people can read a line like once and remember it.
Mm,
That's a skill set that definitely. I've heard tips and tricks. Um, but like, well, it depends though for me because sometimes like if I'm under pressure, I'll tend to learn it quick. I tend to work
mm,
better under pressure a lot of the times, just like in life. But there are sometimes like, especially with like when I have to film a tape, where sometimes I'll just like try to remember and I'll have a brain fart and it's just
mm,
like can't remember. So I know some people that like they'll read it twice and they're just like good. Like I've heard
yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow's like that. Apparently Gwyneth Paltrow just reads it once and just remembers it all. And I'm like,
Wow.
it's crazy. So that'd be a skill. I tend to remember really random facts in life. So I'm like, just take that thing of remembering random facts and try to transition it to remembering lines.
Yeah.
But I don't really struggle with lines. I do like once I'm on a set and I'm actually like I'm good to go. But
Yeah.
more so for self tapes and like on set, sometimes you will forget and you'll have to look at it quickly. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, try to remember.
I couldn't I keep saying I couldn't memorize lines. Like I can remember a phone number from like 20 years ago,
Yeah,
but sometimes I forget the name of like the words in a song that I sing constantly. Like, it's just
yeah, yeah.
random.
Like that. That's why it's like there has been sometimes on set where I'm stressed and I'm like, oh, I forgot the lines. Oh. So I like, quickly have to go over them. I was like, okay, sweet, cool. But
Mm.
there's definitely been times where I'm like, line. because it's just absolute brain fart. I'm like, oh, I knew it was that. I should have just said it. I should have went with it.
Mm.
But yeah, but that's definitely
Mm.
something I got to work on. I've heard tips and tricks. I think even tonight, I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna get a random monologue and I'm gonna do it
Mm.
just to see if I can do it. Because some people
Yeah.
say if you like highlight it and read it before bed, then you wake up the next day, you'll remember it. I've never tried that.
Okay.
Apparently, that's
Maybe
a
I'll try
tip.
that too.
Yeah, yeah. Try it out. Let me know because I would like somebody told me that recently. I'm like that would make sense. Yeah,
Mm.
sometimes I read it
I'm gonna
before
do
bed.
it. I'm gonna do it with a book that I've never read before.
Yeah, yeah. See if that works because I'm like I might just try that just for
Mm.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm gonna try that too. All right. What has been your funniest moment on set?
Funniest moment on set. Oh man, there's been so many. But I remember there was this one that I was doing where um I was with my friend on set, but so we were like just all day making all these jokes and whatnot. But it was a scene where I had to show him a phone. I was like, "Oh, she blocked you." All right.
Mm.
But when it was their coverage and it was over my shoulder, I was just showing him funny pictures, trying to make him just to see if he can hold in his laughter.
Yeah.
And the pictures were so stupid. I was just finding like the most random stuff on Instagram and like Google. But it was so funny because like he held it together pretty good. But like the first couple times he was like, dude, I did not expect that. Exactly. So I remember
Yeah.
that. That was hilarious. So yeah. I still
Yeah.
send him the pictures. I sent him a similar picture like a day ago just to see his
Yeah.
reaction. And it's just like, oh, it's hilarious.
I
Yeah.
had that experience in one of my interviews. Like I try to make these interviews as professional as possible, as we spoke about
Mm,
before, but
mm,
I had two people like try to make me laugh the entire time to try and break me. And I was
yeah.
like, it was an unhinged interview. Like
Yeah.
it was unhinged.
But
Like,
sometimes those ones, they're just the spontaneity. Like sometimes I'll look back on things where I'm like, it wasn't that funny, but just the fact that it happened, it was hilarious. I don't know if that makes sense. Like
yeah,
if you explain it to somebody, it's not funny, but like it's like, oh, you had to be there because
yeah,
like yeah, like it's things like that. Though that makes the best moments, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. All right. So the vertical format is evolving rapidly. What changes do you want to see in the next few years?
Mm. I personally don't really have any like because I know that like whatever will change will change. So I'm
Mm,
pretty adaptable. I feel I don't really necessarily have like you know like if I don't personally want to do something, I won't do it. Like I remember like there was one a year ago they wanted me to do, but it was extremely like over the top for me. So I was like, oh, I don't
mm,
know if I could do this one. Um, but like there's always gonna be kind of like there's a bunch of little niches.
yeah.
So my thing is like I'm pretty adaptable. It'll evolve naturally, but like, or like the people like what the fans say and like what people, say it'll change. But I kind of have my niche, or not niche, but like I kind of have my thing of like I know there's a few things I won't do, but like I'll do my own thing. So and I think that'll be I don't know. I know that sounds selfish. I
No,
apologize, but it's like
it doesn't. It really doesn't.
I know
I
what I
admire
would do
people
and won't
that
do. Yeah.
have morals and certain points that they will not cross.
Yeah. It's like I know what I will do and won't do, and it's like, but there will always be a niche for like a bunch of stuff. So I
Mm,
don't know what I would see change. I'm sure there's something that like some things and everything that needs to change, but I'm kind of like, I have my thing, and I'm pretty open to a lot of like both modeling and acting. I've done a bunch of like stuff, so it's like, yeah, mm,
yeah. All
yeah.
right. If you could strategically plan your next three roles, what would they be?
Strategically plan my next three roles. For some reason, right now, like, well, my next one, I'm a villain, uh,
Mm,
and the script is just so wild. It's so out there. With some of the lines I have to say, I'm like, this is crazy stuff. It's
mm,
hilarious. But there's that one. Then the one after, I have one after. Um, I don't know what that one is actually. I should
Mm,
have read what it was about, but I'm starting that one in a couple weeks. But if I could choose, I definitely want to do another villain one, just because the last one I
mm,
did wasn't really villainy. I was just like supporting.
yeah.
Um, Definitely want to be a villain one. Uh, Another sport one would be good. I actually
Mm,
just did an audition for another sport one because I did a sport one earlier. Um, so a sport one would be good, just like any
okay.
random sport. Um, Not even just to play the sport, but just like it's just a nice change up because I've never really done them before, other than the
Yeah.
last one I just did. Maybe something action wise. Action would be
Mm,
fun. I need to polish up a little bit. I used to train stunts years ago. It's like, oh, I'll polish up and do some action.
yeah.
That'd be fun. So villain, something sportsy, and then like
Mm,
action. It's good enough
yeah.
range, I feel. Yeah.
I think so. I
Yeah.
keep saying I want sci-fi. I really want a
Sci-fi would
sci-fi
be good.
bed.
I would do that actually. I change it instead of this fourth one I would do because I've never yeah, that'd be very interesting. There's been some, I think. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, that's true. That'd be cool to do that,
yeah. I want sci-fi.
yeah.
I just like
Mm,
I love Stargate. Just a little bit of like fantasy and sci-fi mixed would be
mhm.
exactly where I want. And
That would be sweet. I mean, it's ever expanding, so I'm sure within the next year.
mhm,
Yeah. And I've been seeing like a lot more like friends talking, like Instagram posts and like people asking even like me to submit for stuff. It's like there's definitely like a lot more range happening now, which is
there is,
cool. So,
yeah, we're
yeah.
seeing a lot of different storylines.
Mhm,
Like Outplayed that Cameron was just in. It was like a video game one, and that hasn't really been touched on much in the vertical space.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and they did it really well because I'm really big
Mhm,
on CGI as well. Like it has to look good. If it's
mhm,
bad CGI, I'm like out of it. I get
mhm,
distant from it. But yeah, this was done really, really well, and
mhm.
I'd like to see more of that as well, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think there's gonna be more along those lines just because it's like I said, it's
Mm,
ever growing and there's just so much that you could do. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely
So,
interesting to see what comes up. Yeah.
do you have a genre that's the most meaningful to you?
Genre that's the most meaningful to me. Um, Not per se. I would say, um, I mean, in terms of me acting in it, not really, because I do like the range. But I would say I personally just watch movies. I definitely watch a lot of action movies. Like I love John Wick. Like that's one of
Yeah.
my favorite ones. Just
Mm,
action, things like that. Um, Not necessarily meaningful, but I just
mm,
enjoy
yeah.
them. But for myself per se, I don't necessarily have a specific just because like I apologize for repeating because but like the range is fun. Yeah, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah,
Well, it's
yeah,
good to have that. It's good to have that.
yeah. Mm.
Okay. If you could go back and relive one single day in your career, which day would you pick?
Really one single day in my career. That's a good question. Uh, hmm, that's a very good question. I feel like that, for modeling, I think the one where we went up to the mountain to shoot, that was really good. I guess not vertical related. Vertical related though, um, I would say like there was one uh mafia one that me and Evan did. And
Mm,
that one was like because I was like kind of when I first started going up and doing them more, that one was super fun. So maybe like a
yeah.
day on one of those would be like super fun. Like when I like yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
For each
Is there anything that you'd
one.
want to change from that, do you think? Or would you keep it exactly the way it is?
I think I'd probably keep it exactly the way it is.
Mm.
It was that when I was wearing an eye patch, so my
Oh, yeah.
depth perception was off. So like I definitely would wear one at home for a day to get my because I just feel like there's probably some things in there that like I'm doing things where like there was one where I was doing a fight scene in it, but like my depth perception was off. So like I thought like I'd
Mhm.
be like this far and I would like swipe and I'd feel like too close, but they're like, no, 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 you're too far. But then
Yeah.
it's like then I get closer, you're too close because like your eyes covered. I was like, oh my gosh. So maybe I
Yeah.
would practice an eye patch more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I've just gotten over I got sick a little while ago and I had vertigo. And that
Mm.
just screws with your ears and things. So I get that, like the whole balancing and
Mhm.
depth perception, it was just all off.
Yeah, it was. I got used to it after like by the end of the shoot, I got used to it, but then I didn't have to wear it anymore. So oh
Yeah.
well, now I know what it's
Yeah.
like to wear an eye patch. So
Well, maybe you can train for a pirate one.
maybe, yeah, if they do a pirate one, that'd be sweet. I heard last year they were filming a pirate one. I don't know if it came out, but
No,
I heard about it.
there is a pirate one being made at the moment.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I haven't really seen. I don't think there is one besides that one at the moment.
Yeah. I wonder if that one was shot in Vancouver because I remember I think it was
Beneath
Vancouver.
Crimson Sails, I think it's called.
I'll have to look it up. Maybe it was. Yeah. That was
Mm,
like probably back in August though.
yeah,
But that'd be a cool one pirate, like a Pirates of the Caribbean fantasy-esque one.
yeah,
That'd be pretty sweet.
yeah. All right, if you could
So
go back and relive one of your characters for a day, which one would you pick? Which is maybe not best because you're a villain in most of them, but
yeah, relive one of my characters for a day. Hmm. Maybe maybe the one where I was just like a really rich villain CEO
hmm.
just for a day, see what it's like. Not necessarily be bad, but like,
Yeah,
see what it's like to be a rich CEO that could just drop 350 million on a painting.
yep,
That'd be pretty interesting just to know what that's like for a day. I feel.
mm,
I'd get
yeah. I
bored of it
mean,
or
I
mm,
couldn't imagine spending 350 million on a painting, but I guess when you got that amount
really
of money, doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. Yeah, like that's why I was like maybe that character for a day would be fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So, do you prefer the high dramatic scenes or the more subtle moments?
Mm, oh, maybe the more subtle moments. It
Mm,
depends what it is though, because I feel like when I do the high dramatic ones, it's very, very high dramatic.
mm,
Like there's like fight scenes involved, but they always turn out so fun and so great.
yeah.
But I feel like the more subtle ones, because when like even if it's like say it's I like it when it's like high drama, but you can act subtle. That's kind of
Mm,
like fun. Where it's high drama, the music's high. It's very like so it's important to the storyline, but you could be subtle and like, hey, oh my God. You can act
yeah.
subtle in a high dramatic, if that makes sense. So maybe subtlety,
Yeah.
depending, but like,
Mm,
and it turns high dramatic. It's like a not a crescendo, but like the build up.
the range, like you said, the range.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like that's like kind of like you can be subtle in it. Like there was one I did that I think actually got released very recently. I don't remember the name of that, but where there's like the scene where like I'm very like quiet and I'm like talking, I'm like taunting. Then he comes in and he beats me up. And it was
Mm,
like it looked it was so fun because on set we were screaming,
yeah.
right? The screaming shots didn't make it into the final cut, which I thought they would because like the when it first happened, busted through the door and he was screaming, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know that. I thought it was gonna be more subtle, but that turned out great because it was just the energy and like, yeah. So that was a fun one.
Yeah. All right. If you could star in a vertical that you would class as your perfect storyline, what would it be?
My perfect storyline right now, something like James Bond, just because
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching. It'll change in 2 weeks, but right now, something like that would be. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's hardcore. Something like interesting like that. It's like kind of actiony, villainy, love interest.
Yeah.
If that, but
You'd
like I
want to
said,
play
until
like the James Bond character or a different character?
oh, maybe a villain. I love it's so I do like and I love James Bond obviously, but the villains in there are just so fun and like you just I was literally watching Skyfall like 2 hours ago just because I was like oh, I'll rewatch it
Yeah.
and I just like yeah when Javier Bardem was just like crazy. It's like that's just fun because you know he's gonna lose, but like
Mm,
you like to see can he get away with it? It's kind of like
mm,
the thing because I watched some things where like the villain does win. I forgot what I was watching. There's just sometimes there's like a twist where it's like the villain wins, and you're like, oh, there's this Korean movie I watched actually years ago where like oh I don't want to spoil it because whatever. It's called Running Wild, and
yeah.
essentially this cop's family gets like this whole family like dies,
Mm,
and he tries to take the legal route, but they fail him. So he just is a gangster that does it. So he just takes revenge on the gangsters, and then like
mm,
he gets killed, and the gangster lives. But then at the very end, the gangster dies. But it's like the main guy dies, and the
mm.
gangster lives, and you're like, the movie's done. It's 2 hours. Like the gangster lives. Later done. It's like things like that where it's like it's just like different. Like it catches you off guard. So
Mm. It
and
kind of reminds me, like the villain in this one doesn't live, but it kind of reminds me of Law-Abiding Citizen.
I've never actually seen that movie.
Oh, that is a
Yeah,
brilliant
I've
movie.
heard. Yeah,
You
I
have
like
to watch
Gerard
that.
Butler. Yeah, I remember when it came out, and I remember I watched a little bit of it, but I just I don't know why because I like Gerard Butler. I mean, I loved 300 as a kid, so I'm like
Mm,
I came out like right after, and I was like I want to watch this, but I think I
yeah.
don't know why for some reason. I mean,
I
I
won't
just
spoil
seen
anything then, because
uh
you have to watch that
as you
movie.
what I just watched Inception 3 months ago for the first
Hmm.
time. My friend was like, she was like, we gotta watch this. You've never seen it? I'm like, nope. So and it was great. I was like, oh my god. She's like, huh?
Mm. Do you have a
So
favorite villain?
my favorite villain. Favorite villain. Hmm. There's it's oh, there's this anime called Vinland Saga. And
Hmm.
there's this one guy who's like his name's Askeladd. He's a villain, but then like by the end of the first season, he's like not because he kind of becomes a father figure.
Mm,
But also it's like Viking era Europe. So like obviously the stuff is like he's pillaging and stealing and conquering. It's not good, but there's it's like complex.
mm,
So things like that where I'm like, that's like he's probably one of the favorite villains, you
mm.
know.
I can't pick between three. Like, I got asked this question before, and I was just like, I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. But Heath Ledger's Joker is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. I like Ra's al Ghul too. He's one of them too.
mm, Vecna
And
from Stranger Things. He's one of my favorites.
I've never actually seen Stranger Things. Yeah, I know it's surprising. I saw like 2 or 3 episodes at my old
Oh,
friend's house. Yeah. And she was like, you
that's
gotta
another
watch this.
thing. Add to your
Yeah. And
list.
she was like, you gotta watch this. And I found it really interesting, but I don't know why I just never watched it.
Mm. I still think, honestly, I still think the first two seasons are my favorite.
Mm,
From that, there was five
yeah.
seasons, but they're all good. But the
I
first
think I
one just
saw the
had this.
scene, like the scene where she's like rising up and they put the headphones on
Mhm.
her. Is that like the
Yes.
later season?
Yeah.
That's the later season? Okay. I think I saw that episode and I was like, what is going
That
on
was
here? It's scary.
that was a great episode. But yes, there's a lot that you miss between that. So you have to
Yeah.
go back and yeah,
Yeah.
watch it all. Um, but like another villain, which is really, really good, but like not over the top. Face Off. Have you seen Face Off? Nicolas Cage.
No, but I know, yeah, I know that. I
Oh,
remember,
yeah.
yeah.
Not spoiling, but
Maybe I
it's a
have
great
seen it.
one.
I don't think I've seen the full thing, but I've
Mm,
seen a lot of clips from it. And like
yeah.
growing up, my dad would always watch these movies, so I probably saw a lot of it,
Mm,
but not from beginning to end fully, you know?
yeah. No, you need to go into that one fully aware
Mm,
because that is
mm,
also like a complex, great storyline.
mm,
It's just
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last question. What is the good day on set for you?
Good day on set is just when everything's going smoothly, everybody's having
Mm,
fun, everybody vibes. It's kind of like, the ideal. I mean, obviously, like that's and like I feel like most like I do have like a fairly like optimistic attitude. I try to be happy and whatnot, but So I don't really have bad days on sets, but sometimes you can see like there's tension between people or like people like talk, they're angry. Humans are humans, right? People have bad days. And I try to be understanding, but so I'm never really ever actually in a bad mood. But when everybody's in that good mood and everybody's vibing, it's all smooth, those are like the best shoots. That's just
Mm,
yeah. Like there was one that I did in June that was like that. I can't remember the name of it. Um, it was a mafia one,
mm,
but it was just like everybody vibed,
yeah,
like and most sets everybody does vibe. Like there's never really like any quarrels on set, but I think that one was just super smooth, like
yeah.
everything. Yeah. But like I said,
Always
most
makes the
sets I'm
day
on,
go easier.
yeah, like but most sets I'm on, like they are still like pretty good and smooth. Sometimes like there's some uh like I don't know, maybe like we didn't get the good shot or like we're trying to figure things out or da, da, da. Like it's never anything bad. It's always just like,
Yeah,
okay, let's try to make this work. Da, da, da. But I just remember that set. It's just like right away. It was like boom, boom, boom. Like just
yeah,
there wasn't anything to figure out, so it was
yeah.
very smooth.
No,
It was
that's
very
good.
fun. Yeah, but most sets I'm on, like I don't know. Like I said, I try to be optimistic and understanding.
Yeah,
So I tend
yeah.
to be like I've never had a bad day on set. Let's just say.
That's
So
good. Well, hopefully you
yeah,
don't. Hopefully you
yeah,
don't.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I'm pretty chill though. But there was one
Mm,
day where yeah, like I was starting to get sick and I
wow.
could feel it. And I remember I was
Yeah.
like, it was heavy stunts day. I was screaming and I could feel it. And I was like, oh no. It was my last day on the set though. But I remember that was like, I got so tired. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, I felt bad. Like I was able to do it. Like, and I looked at the scenes and they turned out good. Like I was worried they wouldn't like look good. But like I said, we're our own biggest critics. But I was
Yeah.
so happy that it like turned out good because I was so tired that day on set. I was trying to nap because I was just starting to get sick. But that was nobody else's fault. I was just like everybody was still great, right? But
Yeah.
that was a day where I was like trying to sleep. I was just so tired. I was like, oh
And of course you had to be screaming as well, you know.
no. And I had to be screaming and like moving and whatnot. And um yeah, it was just tired. Apparently there's been a flu going around recently. Um
Oh,
so a lot of people I know have just been tired, getting sick. I haven't gotten knock
touch
on
wood.
wood. I don't
Yeah.
but yeah, God willing, I don't. But
Yes, you've
it's the
got
way to do
plans,
it.
so don't get sick.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But
Yeah.
hopefully everybody stays healthy, takes their vitamin C, you
Hmm.
know. I take my
Yeah.
vitamin C every day, eat healthy and yeah. But that day I remember so I guess the I guess I answered the opposite of the question of that was a day where I was like fatigued. But also
Yeah.
some days you just like I've had also days where like I slept for like 4 hours or like done overnight shoots where you're just like tired by like 5. And by the
Mm.
time you hit 8 a.m., you're just awake. Then it's
Yeah.
10 a.m. and you're just awake. So you get so tired that you just become. So sometimes that was hard. But that's a personal thing just because you're tired. It's nobody else's fault.
Mm.
I try
No.
not to blame I try not to blame others for things like if I'm tired or if like I'm having a bad day. It's like, you know what? Don't take it out on others. Everybody deals
Mm.
with their own thing. Fix it yourself if it's something that you could fix. And if not, then just chill.
Yeah.
And
No,
yeah.
that's the best advice because
Mhm.
you can't go in blaming other people because you just got to try and figure it out yourself. That's the best
Exactly.
way to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for having this interview with me. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. It's super fun. Thank you for reaching out as well.
No
Like
worries.
I said, we've been talking for like 2.5 hours. We talked for like 2 hours before it started. So yeah,
Yes.
I,
Had a good
I,
catch up.
I digress a lot. So I apologize for that.
You
Of
don't need to, that's fine. All right. Well, I'll talk to you again very soon.
course. Thank you
Okay.
again for having me.
Anytime.
Thank you. Thank you.